I got to work early, so I might can actually kick a video out this morning. So my mind goes down rabbit trails, as y'all know, and I can't remember exactly why my brain ended up here, but oh yeah. So my friend Kim, one of my Kims, I don't know if I told y'all, but I have like 12 friends named Kim. My very first best friend's name was Kim. My current best friend is Kim. The Kim that I'm talking about is a very good friend. She is leaving today to go back home to Virginia to visit her brother and his wife and nephew and all that stuff. So anyway, when she started talking about this, she said she was going to rent a convertible or a sports car to go up there. She said she's driven the same truck for over 20 years. She's never, as long as I've known her, she's never had a new vehicle, and she's had the same truck. So she said, I don't know, I just want something different. And her truck's got over, it might be up to 250,000 miles on it. It's in excellent condition. It's a Toyota. But anyway, not the point of the story. Men especially, love that truck. They're like, if you ever want to sell it. She's like, I don't. Anyway, so she's, I'm going to rent a sports car. I'm going to rent a convertible. I said, do it, girl. Do it. You only live once. Do it. Well, then her sensible side, came to her, and she was like, nah, maybe I'll just get a compact car. I was like, whatever. I would get a sports car or a convertible. Just make the trip a happy one, whatever. Do whatever is going to make you happy. So she rented the car. She told him she wanted a compact car, blah, blah, blah. So she went yesterday to pick up the car. And it is I think she said a 2021 Ford Mustang convertible. That thing is bad. It's so nice. And it's got these lights. I don't know if they're under the door handle, but it's got these lights that shine down on the ground that make the little Mustang like Batman, on the ground. Anyway, it's cool. So I was like, well, please enjoy the car. Put the top down, have some fun in it. Make this an enjoyable trip. Anyway, the convertible part of that reminded me of a story, but I did tell Kim, you're going to have to Venmo me some money because I'll come get you, but I just don't have bail money right now, okay? So anyway, the part about the convertible reminded me of when me and Chrissy went to Savannah. So when I worked at the sheriff's office, I was the terminal agency coordinator, which means I was the liaison between like the GBI, Georgia Bureau of Georgia Bureau of Investigations, and the FBI, which we all know what the FBI is, and the sheriff's office, which just means that I was responsible for all the records and making sure that everybody knew how to enter stuff and do stuff and audit stuff and take responsibility for stuff and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so every year the GBI would host a conference that the tax could go to. And the sheriff's office would always send 2 representatives, me and someone else. I always got to go because I was the TAC. I mean, I didn't argue with them, right? A fully paid trip to Savannah? Are you kidding me? Well, the first few years I went, it was at Jekyll Island. And if you've ever been to Jekyll Island, there's not a whole lot there. It's a beautiful beach. I went there with the youth from the church for one of those, I don't know, week-long worship things or weekend-long worship things in the summer. But going down there for a work conference with hundreds of other people, there wasn't a lot of places to eat. So sometimes we had to leave the island to go find something to eat, yada, yada. Well, anyway, then they sent out this thing saying, hey, if you would like the conference to be in another location, everybody vote on these places. And it was like Cartersville. I'm not going to Cartersville which is 20 minutes up the road. I can go there anytime I want. Although I could have stayed at home and driven up there every day instead of packing up and leaving to go to Savannah. But what fun is that, right? I used to travel a whole lot more before I had 3 animals relying on me. But, well, and when I had money. Anyway, the travel money is the thing. But anyway, we went, so we all picked Savannah. I mean, it was a landslide pick to Savannah. Oh, I was telling you, it was Cartersville, Augusta, I don't know, like Statesboro. There was a place out west, like Carrollton. Anyway, Savannah won by a landslide. And nothing against Augusta or Statesboro or anywhere else, but it's Savannah. Come on, it's Savannah. It's one of my favorite places on earth. So anyway, when we went to Savannah, Chrissy borrowed her brother or her sister's, I don't know, family members, 2-seater convertible. And that's the first time that I've been in a convertible that long. We had so much fun riding around in that convertible. And we came back so tan. Everybody was like, did you go to any classes? And I was like, yeah, but you get out of the class. Okay, so Monday was a travel day. We'd get up and leave early, like 7 a.m. early. We'd get down there and check into the conference, try to check into the hotel if they would let us check in early, and then we would head to the beach. We'd go to Tybee Island and spend the day. And then the next day we get out of school. You had like, I think it was 4 classes a day with a lunch, but you had 2 and then a lunch and then 2. And we were out by like, I think it was like 3:30 or something. Well, anyway, we would hit the road and go back to the beach, or we would take a dolphin tour or a ghost tour, you know, whatever, do all the touristy things every time we went down there. So as soon as we got in the car, the top went down and we took off to the beach, and we would stay out there till the sun went down, go find something to eat, and then head back into Savannah for the night. Well, that reminded me of a story of Mitzi, because when we were coming home from Savannah, we're in this little 2-seater convertible. Chrissy she's probably 6 foot tall, and she's got this long blonde hair. She's a beautiful girl, and she's, you know, got the hot pink nails and all the jewelry, and she's attracting all this attention. Anyway, so we were getting all this attention sitting in that convertible, and I was like, oh, maybe I do need a convertible. I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, I was thinking that then because I was in my 30s or early 40s. Anyway, so that thought led me to another thought about Mitzi. Mitzi came to work with me at the sheriff's office in 1998. And we became like that day one. I mean, you couldn't separate us. We were 2 peas in a pod, whatever you want to call it. So she would call me, like if her husband was out of town or whatever, because he traveled a lot back then. She would call me and say, hey, can you come up here and help me? Because at the time she was living in Woodstock, which isn't that far from me. She now lives up in Blairsville, which is far from me. It's like 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half. But anyway, so I'd take off up to Woodstock, and me and Mitzi would go, you know, hit the road. Well, I show up this one day, and she has this pea green station wagon. I was like, what is that? She said it was my dad's, and it used to be a forestry service vehicle, and he bought it at some auction or whatever. But it's good for hauling stuff, because I personally don't like trucks for hauling because of rain and because of wind and because of having to tie everything down so well. If you've got a big open area like this, you can shove most anything into it except for big furniture. You know what I'm saying? So for what we were going to get, the forestry service station wagon was perfect. It was perfect. So we're tootling on down the road. I'm a people watcher, so I'm always looking around. And I'm like, man, we must be looking hot today. We're getting all this attention. And we keep going on down the road, and we'd stop in traffic, and all these guys were checking us out. So finally, I say something to Mitzi. I'm like, we must be looking pretty good today, because all these men are checking us out. Mitzi said, It ain't us. I said, what do you mean it ain't us? She said, they're not looking at us. I said, how you know they're not looking at us? She said, Tracy, it's the car. I said, this pea green Forestry Service station wagon. She said, men love them. I said, why? She said, I don't know, but that's why my dad wanted one. She said, they love them. They all love them. I was like, well, you could have let me thought for a little while that they were looking at us. She said, well, you can thank it, but they're looking at this car. Anyway, that's one of our funny stories of, you know, the station wagon and some of our escapades. But hold on. Another escapade was when we went to a concert and we went to see Matchbox 20 and Train. It was back in the 90s. Don't judge. So, no, early 2000s. I'm sorry. I met her in 98. So this was probably, well, Devin was a baby and he was born in 2001. So 2002, 2003, he was still in a small car seat. And you're like, how do you remember all this? Well, because. So we go to a Mexican restaurant and we have dinner. Now, her husband is the driver, right? So me and Mitzi go ahead and have a margarita. This was in my drinking days. Not that I ever drank a lot, but I could drink a lot when I did drink, which is the main reason I quit drinking. But anyway, so we have margarita. So we giggle all the way down to Atlanta. Poor Chad. Anyway, so we get there and she had some beer on ice. So I take the beer out and there was no bottle opener. I was like, how are we going to open this? It's not a twist off. And she was like, oh, crap. So Chad gets out and starts walking the parking lot looking for someone to ask if they had a bottle opener. Well, me being the MacGyver in the vehicle, I start looking around and I realized that seat belts, they were much bigger back then, but they have these little things, right? The one on my seat belt was pretty big, so it was too big to open the bottle because it pretty much fit down over the top. However, and this is before TikTok when we knew you could slam it down on something, I was afraid I was going to break the neck of the bottle anyway. So Devin's car seat was sitting there. And it was one of those old kinds that, I don't know if they still make them like this, but I think it had that thing that went down and clicked in. Anyway, that little thing went between his legs and clicked. Anyway, I took that little car seat thing, the safety belt, and Devin wasn't with us. He was not with us. Anyway, I used that to pop the top on the beer. I was the hero for the day because I was like, I got the beer open. I have a bottle opener. It's a child's car seat, which sounds all kind of wrong, but we had a designated driver and we didn't have the baby with us, so we were responsible adults at that moment. So anyway, then we go into the venue and we're going to watch the concert. And we took a tarp to lay on the ground because it was one of those concerts that there's no seating. Well, there is, but you had to pay more. We wasn't paying more. So anyway, we're sitting on the tarp. Well, it starts to rain. So we stand up and we take the tarp and we pull it all over the top of our heads, which I can assure you is a problem when there's a taller person and then me. Anyway, the rain was going downhill. Well, I decided that it would be real funny. I took the tarp and I tucked it under my neck and I kept looking at Mitzi going, I am Cornholio. I am Cornholio. I am Cornholio. We got so tickled, y'all. We laughed so hard. She was like, all right, Cornholio, we about to pack it up and leave. And I was like, I am Cornholio. Anyway, that tarp, the mud from the tarp, the mud, the rain, everything, we were a freaking mess, but we had so much fun. We did. We had so much fun. That was one of our many escapades. But that's going to have to do it for now because it's 2 till 8 o'clock and I start work at 8 o'clock. So for now, I will bid you adieu. I'm sure I'll be back later. Goodbye. Well, here we are at home. It's the end of the day and I thought I would give you a garden update since we've had some actual rain. Some actual rain from the heavens. Stand by. Okay, so look at my little squashy. He's so cute. So cute. There's another one. Another little squashy squash. Another little squashy. And then those are radishes. Does anybody know what that squiggly stuff is on that leaf? Is that some sort of bug or snail or something that I need to do something with? And then that's my cucumber. Oops, sorry. There's my cucumbers. Cucumber. It's only one. My okra and my little pots of gold right there. My mushrooms and my jalapenos, jalapenos, my dill. I did pull off the brown, like Patty said, told me to do in the comments, but the brown keeps coming, so I'm not sure. I'm just doing like this, which I assume is correct, but it's kind of, I don't know. Anyway, I guess it looks better. My tomatoes are finally getting some height on them. My bell peppers right there in the center, and I may have to move some of this because this may be too much, but for right now this is what we've got. So there it is. These are some sunflower seeds that I planted. That's just a leaf. Some sunflower seeds that I got in a little package. They're large sunflower seeds and smaller sunflower seeds, and they're red. And then in this, which isn't showing anything yet, it is Sweet Annie. I don't know if Sweet Annie will grow here. And then I also planted some azaleas. I don't think my azaleas are not coming up yet, but I thought I was ordering an azalea bush, and I got azalea seeds. So, and then over here, we have a whole bunch of stuff. I just threw this stuff over here because I ran out of places to plant, and it's doing well. And then I've got a lily growing. I guess that's a lily. It looks like a lily. I don't know where that came from. Maybe it's sent from heaven. But anyway, there's that. So everything's doing very well. And I might add, someone asked the other day, Tracy, why do you need a wooden fence? Why wasn't the chain link fence good enough? See that right there? Because there's two very large dogs that live right there. And when I would let my dogs out, it would become a fight through the fence. I'm sure this person's probably not been a follower for a long time to know this. Plus I have a cat that likes to go out who knows she doesn't climb the fence. She's 17 years old now, but they would get very upset and bark at her. And now, listen, I don't have to listen to dogs barking, and I don't have to worry about my dogs being hurt through the fence by these larger dogs. And I don't have to worry about these larger dogs jumping the fence. Yes. So anyway, that concludes today's video. It's been a little too peeply today, so I'm just going to close it out now and say I hope you enjoyed. Remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. I hope he's coming back soon because it's been too peeply today. And I'll talk to you on the next Tracy Tries. Okay, goodbye.